All right. Hi, guys. So we are here live with Choppa History today on Thursday, brought to you by Indian Motorcycles. And we are going to have a special guest today.
Oh, Cory's already on.
Yep. So we are going to have Cory Ness on here. So let me, we'll get right to it and let him join in. Hi,
Hey.
Cory.
Hey, Cory.
Okay. How's it going?
Good. How your teeth feel? They feel okay?
Oh, like $1 million.
Yeah. I know. I just had mine done Monday.
Yeah. First trip back to the dentist since the pandemic. So I didn't get a sticker. I was telling Jody earlier, but I did real well.
Good.
Did you get your free toothbrush?
Exactly. And some bleach.
Yeah.
No star on your head, huh?
No.
So Cory, we have like a giant box, and I don't even know, I'm assuming from my mother, of old pictures, and I've been scouring them yesterday and today.
Okay.
And we've had more fun scouring through that box of old pictures and old bikes and stuff. So you're definitely gonna blush because I found some good ones of you.
Nice.
Lots of pictures of your dad.
Yeah, tons.
Awesome.
Yeah, so actually here we'll oh shoot, I forgot to upload that one. Let me upload one more. This one I found, which is pretty cool, of both your parents.
Oh yeah.
Look at your mom's hair.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
She must have been such a hot ticket back then.
Yeah.
You know when?
This picture here was from the Rat's Hole show in Daytona in 1982.
Was that a park back then, or?
Yeah, it was right on the beach.
Okay.
And it was like on the grass.
Okay.
Back like above the boardwalk.
So in Daytona?
Sure.
Yeah, in Daytona. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty cool. Look at your dad must have taken his boots off, like relaxing in the grass.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. This one I thought was kind of cool too. I don't know. What do you?
Now that one there is your dad driving into the Oakland Roadster show.
With the double engine, then. Okay.
Double.
Yeah, is that me? I think that's me in the blue shirt.
I was going to ask you that.
That's you with your white pants on.
Oh,
Yeah,
I was so thinking.
I'm wearing those white pants today.
Yeah. Are they a little tight?
No, fit perfect.
I was just going to say, you're probably still the same size.
Yeah, well, not too bad, but yeah.
Yeah, this is pretty cool. Like, look at your sneakers. Your sneakers would even be cool now.
Yeah.
Nikes, some fresh Nikes.
Yeah.
Oh, do you know any of these other people in the background? Like the guy with the cowboy hat on?
I'm guessing that might be Denver Arlen.
It kind of looks like Denver Allen, but I don't know if he was there then.
Okay.
You know, that year that your dad built a double.
Right.
Okay, we flew out there. Now, myself and Donnie Smith.
Sure.
We flew out there the week before, and then your dad had, was into limos back then.
Right.
So a bunch of us piled into 2 limos. Now, it was me, it was Donnie Smith, Jeff McCann,
okay,
Ellington, Pretty Boy, and I don't remember who else. Drank tequila all the way to L.A.
Okay.
Because it was a dealer show in L.A. So we went down there. We hung out down in L.A., went to the dealer show. We went over to visit Magnuson.
Sure.
We hung out at Magnuson's, and then Cooney, I think, was there too. And then we drove back to the Bay Area on Sunday, and from Monday to Thursday, Francis Diaz was there too.
Okay. From
Monday to Thursday, we all worked from morning until late at night on the double, getting it together.
Who's Francis Diaz?
Francis was
from Hawaii.
Hawaii.
Oh.
Yeah. He was a hamster from Hawaii at the time.
Was he one of your dad's friends?
Yeah, Big Kahuna. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Right, exactly.
How about this guy in the red shirt? Do either one of you guys know who that is?
It's pretty small on my phone there, but it looks like I may be talking to that person.
And he looks like he's a character because he's got maybe a beer in his hand and a big grin, and he's putting his arm out.
Yeah, everybody had a beer in their hand then.
Yeah.
Or tequila.
Or tequila, yeah, for sure. Yeah, it was my dad's drink back in the day.
Oh yeah, your dad turned me on to tequila. That was the first time I ever drank tequila. Was on the way to Laconia in 1976. Was it 75 or 76? 75 or 76.
I wasn't
The
alive.
first time your dad came out here to visit me from for Laconia, and we piled in my old van.
Hang on, jumping the gun.
Yeah, we piled in my old van, put his bike and my bike in the van, and we drove up. In fact, Susan drove the van while him and I sat in the back and drank tequila. And it was a memorable weekend, believe me.
Yeah. I think the first time I really got sick drinking that I can remember was drinking tequila with a bunch of my dad's buddies around at the shop. And I was like, okay, what's the big deal? This is
nothing.
I'm not feeling anything. All of a sudden, I couldn't even dial the phone. And then even to this day, I don't drink even margaritas because and tequila is much better than Cuervo Gold nowadays. But I still have that smell from getting sick when I was 18 years old that I don't want any part of tequila.
That's all it took was one time.
Yeah, one time I did it well. Yeah,
it was Cuervo Gold. That was it.
Yep.
I found this picture. I don't know if this is Dino on the bike.
Dino used to work for me.
That's Big Tom, I think.
Yeah,
right?
Big Tom.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was, I think, at the Bell.
Yep. That's the Bell Motor Lodge, and that was my my gnarly Davidson back then.
Yeah.
How about this one? Look at those shorts.
Yeah, those are hot. Those are awesome.
And even like your high socks, you get nice New Balance on. I was thinking about sending that picture to Max.
Yeah, actually, he just hit me up. Says, "Hey," he just texted me, "When is this thing on?" But I'm not going to take a chance of disconnecting here. So.
Yeah.
Tell him, pay attention. Come on.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, this picture was I found a picture of, I think, this bike. What is this bike that you're working on?
That's that gnarly.
That's my gnarly Davidson. Yeah. Actually, you got to send me these pictures after. These are some good pictures.
Yeah, they are, aren't they?
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that this was all Sturgis.
Yep, that's the Bell Motor Lodge, and probably working on my bike there somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a cool picture. I thought, look at you and all you guys is pressed jeans. Your dad in his cowboy boots.
Right.
Yeah, and I thought it was kind of ironic that you guys have Harley Davidson sweatshirts on and not Ness sweatshirts.
Well, that's when we used to make our own, and it was okay.
Right.
Harley kind of put the hammer down, so we just made our own shirts back then, and but that's exactly why. And then all of a sudden that came to a screeching halt, which I don't blame them, right? But that's how it was.
So was that Harley Davidson on the front and your Ness on the back?
Yeah.
Oh, just so happens. So my shirt today. So Dave Sylvia gave me this shirt. It was his. And look.
Oh yeah, same deal. Then cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So the same thing.
Yeah.
Same idea.
Yeah, I mean, Stratman used to make all these for us.
Right. It was legal back then.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, and it even says down the bottom, it says for bikers only in the print.
Yeah, that was Stratman then. If it was bikers only.
Right.
Yeah. In fact, I think didn't he just pass away not this last year or something?
Yeah, he did.
Does he still make? Do they still make all those shirts?
I don't know if he still did T-shirts though. Did he? I haven't heard anything from him for years and years.
I think he just dealt with official Harley dealers after they cut the aftermarket out. So I kind of think possibly, but yeah, all of a sudden they just kind of disappeared. But that guy rode his bike around the country all year long, and all of a sudden he'd pop in and we'd give him a nice big order, and he'd just keep going to the next stop. But he had a good thing going there.
Did he have the buffalo on it when he came in?
Yeah, no, only in Sturgis I'd see that thing. Yeah.
Yeah, he had Stratman used to come to all the events, and he'd have a whole buffalo head and buffalo hide covering his whole bike, so it looked like he was riding a buffalo.
Yeah. That guy put some miles on.
Yeah, he did.
That's
good.
He
was a cool guy.
Yeah, he was. He was a good guy. Absolutely.
Yeah. So just like half an hour, I was like, man, I got to find another cool picture of you two. And sure enough, I struck gold. So I found this one.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
I don't know where that is, Cory. That doesn't look like Sturgis.
Well, it almost.
So I actually, because
Oh.
me and DP both wanted to zoom on the picture, but couldn't. So
could that be the Redwood Run?
That's possible then. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. So you went to the. I don't remember. You obviously went to the Redwood Run a handful of times then.
Yeah, back in the early '90s.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's probably what it is then, Dave.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, I got to get all these pictures, guys. These are awesome.
They are cool.
Do you remember? I don't know if you remember this, but we came to the Redwood Run one year. Maybe 90, 91, something like that. Yeah. And Joe Pro had this old shovel head bagger. It was like full dressed, balls and lights on it.
Yeah.
And we brought it out there. I sold it to somebody out there. I forget who bought it. But Joe was going to ride it, and he couldn't touch the ground.
I'm just going to say that.
Pulled into your driveway and fell into your bushes. Fell into the bushes on the bike.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I think we found another bike for him to ride after that.
Was that the only bagger Joe Pro's ever had?
No, he had maybe one or two, but customs. He had a Road King and something, but this thing was old school, real old school.
I was trying to think. Maybe the first time you came out to stay at our house, when I was still living home with my folks.
Yeah.
I thought you might have brought out some leather belt buckles or belts or something.
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Susan used to make leather belts.
Okay.
Yeah. So I probably did.
Yeah.
That was at the time I took over your bedroom and you had to sleep out on the couch.
Yeah. That was the shits. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Just a little kid then.
Right. Yeah. I do remember that with you bringing the stuff out and I remember the first time Cooney came to the house also because you're a kid and who are these biker people, right? Staying at our house, right? As a kid.
Ditto. Yeah, I remember that stuff too.
Yeah, you had a whole crew of people.
Also too, I'm buying back my dad's Especial.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, Ed Swordson, Cooney's buddy Ed back in the day. Actually, interesting story. When I talked to him recently, and I haven't talked to him for who knows 30 years.
Yeah.
He said that Especial, which was I thought was one of the cool iconic bikes, so I wanted to get that one back. But before my dad built Ness Teak, he pulled the motor out of Especial, and that's the motor he used in Ness Teak, which was a really nice motor. All the fins were ground out of the heads and the cylinders, and then he sold the rolling chassis to Ed.
Yeah.
But just one of my dad's most famous bikes was probably a Especial, and that's the motor originally was in in another bike. So anyway, but I'm just trying to organize it, but I just buying that back right now.
Is it still got the original paint on it and everything?
Yep. Yeah, and it's I got pictures of it. It definitely needs to be repainted, but it's you definitely know what it is. And that had that rubber suspension or the urethane biscuits he had at the bottom.
Yeah.
I don't know how good it worked. I'm sure it wasn't too great.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
But it was cool.
Yeah, right.
Tell people what bike you're talking about that don't know. What's the what was the name of it?
Especial, which Especial goes back to the tequila because it was paid like Tequila Sunrise.
Yeah.
And in fact, there's been pictures popping around Facebook with because my mom posed for that for one of the magazines.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Now I thought that the Ness Teak was before that.
No, well, I don't think so, and I got to dig through more pictures. But that's what Ed was telling me because he said that's why my dad sold him the rolling chassis because he took the motor out of Especial to build Ness Teak because that he had a lot of time and work in the motor. And back then, my dad probably didn't have a whole lot of cash to get another motor and that, so he recycled things.
because he can't. The first year that he came out here for Laconia, which I believe was 75. It was either 75 or 76, and he had Ness teak.
Oh.
So,
when I just talked to, that's the only reason. He said because Ed should know because he bought the rolling chassis from my dad, right?
Yeah, right.
But
so what is the motor?
It's a Sportster motor, but it was so detailed, and probably one of the first motors that where all the fins were that's the cast iron heads on a Sportster, but it was so detailed, and so much labor went into the cosmetics of it. It looked like a piece of art. So it was perfect engine for Ness teak, being real minimalistic and 5/8 chromoly tubing for the frame, and it was just
Still have that, right?
Yes. Yep. Yeah. Definitely still got that.
Yeah.
That's cool. Hey, I see Max is on here. He said you cleaned up your office.
Oh. We're not going to move the camera around too much because it looks like a hellhole here. But
we do the same thing. You don't want to see way that way or that way.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, we know the game.
Yeah, we know the routine.
Yeah. We had a lot of people have commented and whatnot. Let's see.
Mike Pag.
Yep, Mike Pag's on here.
Yeah.
Yo, Pag.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mike Draco says, when did Dave first meet Cory?
Well, the first time I came to your house, which was probably around 76.
Okay.
So how old were you? I hate to say your age, but how old were you in 76?
So 76, I was probably 12-ish.
Yeah.
That's young.
Yeah. Yeah. So Dave, and then with Dave's accent at the time, I didn't know what the hell was going on. Probably the first person I met from the East Coast, right? Or from Massachusetts.
Probably thought he was a foreigner.
And how about the square toe boots they used to wear, huh?
Oh, yeah.
I heard the end of that because nobody wore cowboy boots out there.
Oh, so you had like the harness boots?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think didn't Cooney say that toes were cut off so you can get closer to a wall or something?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I heard that for years and years until I finally had to break down. First time my first cowboy boots in 1979, we rode. A bunch of us met in Denver. Your dad and a bunch of his guys drove to Denver.
Right.
We met at Fatlin's place.
Sure.
And, I flew to Denver. Fatlin gave me a new CR that. Remember him and your dad bought a bunch of CRs.
Right.
Yeah, Cafe Racing. So Fatlin gave me a CR, and so we all proceeded from Denver to Sturgis.
Sure.
Well, it's about 500 miles. I think it took us about 3 days, right? Between the bikes breaking down,
right,
stopping at every other bar on the way.
Yeah.
But, I remember we stopped in Wyoming, and I bought my first pair of cowboy boots.
Oh, it was a big day.
Wyoming somewhere on the way to Sturgis.
So are they considering pointy toe cowboy boots?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, you were probably looking for squared off boots in Wyoming, but they didn't exist, right?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
So you were stuck.
Too far from home.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I bought a pair of sea turtles. I still have them.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, the first time I ever rode to Sturgis was from Denver also. That's when my dad started riding to Sturgis. That's where it kind of started, I believe, and then they started the full West Coast ride, which we've been doing for a long time now.
Yeah, well, back in '79, everybody had kind of converted to riding big twins.
Right.
Before that, it was all iron heads pretty much.
Sure.
And somebody had just come out. Now, I don't know whether it was Paco or somebody had just come out with aftermarket Fat Bob tanks.
Okay.
So
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Half the guys had aftermarket Fat Bob tanks. Well, by the time we got there, half of them had one tank because the other ones leaked.
Right.
We had to stop and JB weld them because they were all leaking.
Right.
It was quite a trip.
Yeah, I remember back then when Fat Bob tanks became available, they sold like crazy, good quality or not,
Yeah,
but that was just like a huge craze. I mean, I remember my dad would buy, I don't know, what seemed to be 50 sets
yeah,
and have them all stacked up and get a deal on them and then run sales on it. But I remember we would just sell hordes of them.
yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Because you couldn't buy them back then, you know.
Right. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
huge. And then the 5 gallons came out, and
yeah.
they were. I remember all that. Yeah, that was. Used to sell a ton of those things.
Yeah.
I wonder, is that partly why Alan went to selling pots, because he saw the need for it, that there wasn't much aftermarket stuff?
Um, I don't know. I don't think so. I think it was more because he fixed up some bikes and people liked a few things that he was doing,
Yeah, so
and then so he tried. Oh, let's try making 10 of these things, and
yeah.
um, kind of work from there. But yeah, just totally. He just he didn't know what he was doing, and it just kind of eventually made it all work out.
Yeah, yeah, your dad, back then, he made some really cool stuff. And I was always on the front page of whatever he was doing, We talked
Yeah.
all the time back then.
Yeah, sure.
Whatever he was making that was cool,
Yeah.
it was coming out here to the East Coast.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was
The
the
digger.
top of the Ness digger style.
Yeah, the digger days were awesome, right?
They were awesome. I can remember going to Sturgis and we all were on iron head diggers.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know? That was probably in 78, 77, 78.
Okay.
I don't know if I ever told you, I want to say in 77, your dad called me and he said, hey, I heard about this rally in South Dakota called Sturgis. I heard it's pretty good, maybe we should go. And I said, well, it's a long ways for me, and he said, well, look, if you want to fly out, I'll bring you a bike. So that's what we did. We camped out at the town park. He brought me a little digger Sportster.
Right.
And we had a hell of a time.
Yeah. 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 That's yeah. I'm trying to think when I started to go.
Yeah, when was your first year in Sturgis?
I was 20 years old, and I was on a solid mounted FXR, converted to be solid mount, which doesn't make a lot of sense, right?
Yeah, right.
So it had to be the
80s? Why? Yeah, in the 80s. But I was 20 because I remember, that's when first time I went, I rode from Denver. And I remember the day we rode back from Sturgis to Denver Arlen's house. I remember I was just my ass was so sore I could almost feel like I rode a horse from Sturgis to Denver.
Yeah.
I was so sore and so miserable. And then later that we probably got into town about 8 o'clock at night. From there at midnight I was turning 21. So I went out with Denver Arlen and Jim Davis, who used to make our old chassis.
Yeah.
And we had to wait till midnight for me to get in.
Oh, geez.
So we went to some club, big club with Jim Davis, Arlen, Fatlin, and myself to celebrate my 21st birthday. And that was my first time in Sturgis. Yeah.
So does that mean your birthday's right around now?
Yeah, it was actually last weekend in Sturgis, the 11th.
Oh, happy birthday!
Yeah, happy birthday!
Yeah, thanks. Yeah,
that was cool. You got to celebrate it there in Sturgis.
Yeah. There's all usually have some kind of get together, right, on the hill or something.
Yeah.
I see. Christine's on here watching. Hi, Christine.
Oh, she found it. Nice.
Yeah. So see, her and Max found it.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome.
Which, by the way, Max said, tell him to stop asking me to clean my room.
Where does Max live now?
He's living in San Francisco. He's working for a tech firm.
Oh, yes.
And then during the pandemic, he's been popping back because he's in a smaller apartment with another guy out there.
Yeah.
And so he's, everyone was going stir crazy in their box. So he came over to my place, flipping back and forth just to kind of get some more space to get around. So he's still not working for the rest of the year at the offices.
So it's over there. So as soon as you start telling him to clean his room, that's when he goes back to San Francisco.
Yeah. When I finally run out of patience, he's out.
Yeah, I bet. Somebody asked Cory, what is the first bike you remember he having?
Well, first motorcycle that I ever bought and fixed up was a Honda 360. One of my friends had it, so I bought it, took the sheet metal off. I painted it. My dad taped off or outlined the flames, and then I finished it, and then I wrote it. I wrote it a little bit. I wasn't supposed to because I was like 14, but I were a little bit when my parents weren't around, and then I sold it. I think I made like $50, cleaned house, right? And then I bought my first Harley, which was a 1974 Sportster engine I bought from Cooney. That was from Barry Cooney, which was just a basket case.
Yeah.
And then from there, I just scrounged parts my dad had laying around, and so I was 50. I built it when I was 15. So I painted it. I did the paint work, everything but the striping and the leaf, which Jeff McCann did.
Yeah.
So I did that and just kind of learned how to work with my hands. Of course, I had no money, so I could not afford chrome. So we had a bee blaster at home. So I bee blasted, the rocker boxes, cam cover, primary.
Yeah.
And then I think, in fact, even the wheels I think my dad had an old Sportster chrome spoke wheel laying around. So probably had to clean that up, get all the rust off. And then he had a gold plated Hallcraft or Santee front wheel, which was gold plated. So I had a gold plated front wheel with a chrome in the rear because, hey, you got to deal with what you got, right?
Right, exactly.
But that's how that was my first bike, and I sold it to a guy in Texas, and of course that's one I'd love to have back my own because it was my first bike, and I rode it to school a few times, which was kind of cool because it was a cool digger with a front section,
Yeah.
low bend front section, and that
You
was
remember how much you sold it for?
$3,500.
Yeah.
It was all the money in the world.
I was just gonna say it was probably a lot back then.
Yeah, because I bought the motor from Cooney, I think, for $800, and then I had to pay McCann for the leaf and the striping and the old parts laying around. I didn't have to buy those, but basically, I had to pay my chrome shop bill, and I was I made some money, and I thought, okay, I got to do another one of these. This was easy, right?
Yeah. Well, my first full custom that I built and I sold, which was in 1971. I sold it in 71, and it was a big chopper. It was this iron head with a weld-on hardtail. I stretched the neck 12 inches, 19 overspringer.
Oh, wow.
And I sold it for, I think I sold it for $2,500. And man, that was like huge.
Sure.
I was rich for about a couple months.
Yeah.
$2,500. That was unheard of,
Yeah.
Do you have any idea where your first bike is, Cory?
Well, I just sold to a guy in Texas, and it's never kind of came up. And we get calls every week of someone that thinks or finds one of our old bikes, but usually it's just a bike that had a lot of our parts on it.
Right.
Yeah.
But they all think it was my dad's or.
Yeah.
Right.
But there's the bikes. I'd love to have that bike, and then I'm getting a Special back here shortly, which will be kind of cool.
Yeah.
And then the other one my dad always wanted to get back was the Silver Lady, which that was a really cool bike, and I believe someone in Canada bought that years ago. But if that was probably the one that got away, that was I know my dad always wanted to have that one back. But besides that, my dad's collection, and now my mom's collection, to the family's collection. We got a lot of stuff, and probably too much, because my dad, besides the iconic bikes that my dad had a lot of just other bikes. So it's like a lot of those other bikes that take up a ton of space, and that we got to figure out what to do with some of this stuff, because there's
so much.
Thin things out, huh?
Yeah, thin things out, the stuff that that's not super special. Then we'll probably move some of that stuff sometime in the future.
So
now you still have the 47 knuckle that I sold your dad?
The blue one that was restored stock? Yep. No, that's we still have that.
Yeah.
And he's got a Vincent a part now that we're trying to get back together that he had. There's just my dad had a lot of stuff. He had a lot of victories, right? I mean, he rode victories every year to Sturgis during our relationship with Victory, and we just there's just a lot of stuff, and we have a pretty good size building here, but before you know it, you can fill it up with stuff.
Yeah.
So
if you got the space, you're gonna fill it.
Yeah. So now, for one of the first times ever, we're starting to kind of clean house a little bit, and even throwing away some old parts or takeoffs, or because it's just you start hoarding. My dad didn't throw nothing away.
I know all about it.
Yeah.
Hey, remember, Cory, I'm looking for any old digger stuff. I want to build a few diggers.
Okay.
And especially front section stuff.
Right. Yeah, that's one thing that we would definitely not throw away. And if we got something spare, we can get you something. But that's the kind of stuff that we've been going through. Like, okay, this stuff goes in this cage over here. This is our stash.
Yeah.
And then, but if it's stuff that's just take off things, that's it's like, hey, okay, it's got to go. It's just Denver Arlen has a lot of cool old stuff.
Oh, I know. I talked to him about front section. He said he's got a couple of them, and he was going to let me know.
Yeah.
But, and I'm still looking for that 2-into-1 exhaust.
Oh yeah. I'm pretty sure we don't have that. We do have a couple front sections. We just have to decide, do we want to keep it for ourselves or not, basically.
Yeah, right.
So in you guys' building, you guys have a museum in there where people can go look at all the old bikes?
Yeah, and we're gonna redo the museum here pretty quick. We're recently we stopped selling new bikes in our showroom, and we closed our showroom during the pandemic, and we haven't opened it back up, and we've just been focusing on our Ness product, which has always been kind of what's paid the bills and paid for this building here.
Yeah.
So we're no longer going to have a retail store, and there'll be a Ducati Triumph, MV Agusta, European bikes. We're leasing that part of the store out, but through there you can get right to our museum, which will still be open to the public.
Cool.
And we'll still have our our offices, and I mean, we're still occupying 75% of the building, but we're going to get away from the day-to-day retail store stuff and focus on what we're best at, which is making parts.
Yeah, that's good, because so many people just buy stuff online anyways. So
so
really
that's
too much.
Yeah, that's the direction we're going.
It's pretty sad that all the retail motorcycle shops are almost a thing of the past now. People don't even think about coming to a motorcycle shop to buy the parts.
Right.
They come to a motorcycle shop to have them installed,
or
and
then
they find out they bought the wrong thing or it's junk.
Right.
But I mean, if we didn't install, like tires, man, I never do tires unless they bought them here. Now people buy them as cheap as we do.
Sure. Yeah. No, it's definitely changed, and that's what's kind of probably worked our way over to go in the other direction. But it's just one less responsibility that we do. And then with our website, if you do your website right, you can give them more information than you can when they walk in the door. And the world's changing, and but it's for us, it's a good thing, because it just losing a little responsibility here and there is nice.
Yeah, and then you can improve on what you do good.
Yeah, really laser focus in and make more stuff.
Somebody asked, was the Silver Lady a one-piece digger?
It was a rigid frame with a diamond tank welded to it. The fender was welded to it. So, but it was a digger styling. Good looking bike. In fact, we don't even have much for pictures of that either.
And then photographed.
Yeah, that's good. We should find more of that stuff. I mean, we have a lot of history here and tons of pictures. And in fact, all the photo shoots that were done over the years with even with people like Mike Lichter, who always does an amazing job. Mike took hours, and it was painful at times, because Mike's such a perfectionist. But now that they're all done, and the images that we have, it's like we're so happy
glad you have them.
Yeah, we have such great memories and history. Yeah. And then it's also cool with my dad being gone, that we have a lot of video stuff, so you can hear his voice. You can.
Oh, that's cool.
So all those even interviews sometimes, and different things that there's so much stuff out there. It's awesome to have, because once again, it's nothing better than hearing this voice, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Somebody else asked, did Alan have an everyday rider?
That just changed every year, because he always had projects going, and but he always had a custom going. And then the last 20 years ago, we all rode more than ever. With the bigger bikes and the touring bikes and more comfort, we put more miles on than ever. So they were never as sexy and cool looking as the diggers and the the chassis, with changing the chassis and building a bike. But riding became more and more the norm than building the cool little show bikes. So he'd ride touring bikes probably a lot for the last 20 years, but I forgot how many years he rode to Sturgis, but I think it was close to 40 years riding to Sturgis. Yeah.
Bill Reed says, the first time I met Arlen was at Dave Bell's. He was on the Eagle Bagger with a huge Band-Aid on the bag. I guess it had fallen off.
Oh, yeah. Actually, Scott Becker bought that bike from Roberto, and he rode it to Sturgis this year.
I was just going to say, didn't Roberto?
Oh, really? I didn't know Roberto sold it.
Yeah. He sold to Scott Becker. Yeah, 9-10 months ago, and so we kind of went through it, and that's the bike. Actually, that would be my dad's. That he rode that bike to Sturgis more than any other bike, because he built bikes every year. He probably rode that thing 6-7 years to Sturgis.
Wow, that's a lot for a guy.
Yeah. He loved that thing, and it was a great. It was a rubber mounted balance shaft softail engine, so it was smooth as glass, and he had a 7-gallon tank on it. So I mean, he built it in giant bags, and so he loved that thing.
Somebody said, what's Cory's favorite Ness designed car?
Oh, yeah, that's a tough question.
All right, how about what's the first pot you designed?
First one, believe it or not, was a louvered license backing plate. Just a chrome stamped, simple thing like that, and we did good with it. And then years ago, I'm sure you did it too, Dave, but we'd chrome the clutch cables, we'd strip the rubber,
Yeah.
the plastic shield off, and then chrome the coils and the coil covering, and that was the second one as far as made into a product. And actually we sold thousands of those for years. That was actually good. But probably definitely my most successful product was our Big Sucker air cleaner. I got a patent for the breathing and that. And then today, that's our air cleaner business is by far the most volume items of anything we do. So the air cleaner business is, I'm hoping the electric motorcycles never take off. Otherwise, we're going to be screwed. So,
Yeah. I don't think they will.
I can't.
I hope not. I hope not.
Funny, somebody, I think it was Ted Sands from PM, told me one time, he says, we should change the name of Performance Machine to Grips and Air Cleaners, because that's what we sell the most of.
Right. Yeah, that's same. That's what it is for us too.
I was just gonna say, you guys must sell a ton of that too, because it's a cheaper thing that somebody can install themselves, or minimal mechanic ability.
Yeah.
And they now all of a sudden have a custom bike.
Right. Yeah, no, they change that, and but air cleaners is thank God for air cleaners. Yeah.
Brett Anderson says, I think Wallace Cause in Canada has the Silver Lady. Bought it from Ireland. He's trying to locate it for
Yeah, Brett's one of our local guys here, and he's got a real nice Ness lowliner, and he's probably right, but I did not know who has it, but I just know Canada.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's your favorite bike that Dad built?
Oh, probably is Untouchable Knucklehead. It was such, when you get into the engineering side of it and all the changes and using a Sportster transmission, cutting the transmission off a Sportster engine and put it behind the Knucklehead. And then back then it was also a 100-inch Knucklehead, which was kind of like a monster size.
Yeah, that's a big knuckle
Engine back then. And then
it
was supercharged, and all the oil ran through the frame, and the brake lines ran through the Springer, and he had a drum. We can't call it a dual disc or a dual brake rear, because he had a drum brake and a disc brake sprocket on there. But that was a really cool piece, and then the paint's nice, and that one's and plus it's my dad's technically his first bike. He redid it several times, but
do you have that in the museum?
Yep. Yeah, that one will, I would assume, will probably always stay here, unless electric bikes take off and we might have to sell it.
I doubt it.
Yeah, that's a pretty iconic bike for sure.
Yeah, that was just a really, really cool piece. So,
somebody said, I still think the skinny tube FXR Ness chrome molly frame with the Ness swing arm had such a cool stance. A great look to top it off. Yeah,
we always loved we used to make frames out of 7/8 tubing, and we thought it looked great. I still love the look today, but it's funny because we were making the FXR 7/8 tubing frames and the Dyna version years, and we never really sold a ton of them. And then one day we went ahead and made the exact same frame, but we made it out of 1 1/4" tubing, and that's when our frame business took off. So,
go figure.
Yeah.
But for us, cosmetically, that's not what we loved. But you got to go with the flow. What pays the bills, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
What people are buying.
Yeah.
I also remember back in the day when I worked in our retail store, is we made the T-bars back in the day, the T-bar drag bars, and so that's all we sold. And then we started, but people would always come in the store and ask for ape hangers or buckhorn bars and that, and it's like, who would put that on their motorcycle? Those things are horrible, right?
It must be from the East Coast.
Yeah. and then but we started stocking them, and then we'd sell more of that than our own stuff. So it just shows you gotta, you can't go with just what you like. You gotta,
Sure.
everything.
Hey, so Fulvio Battistini is on here.
Oh,
He says,
hey, Fulvio.
He says, "Hi, Cory is good boy," and he says, which I can totally hear him saying this. He says, "Jordi, say hi to Cory. I miss him."
Oh, hey, Fulvio.
Yeah, which Fulvio is a frequent flyer of our show.
Oh, okay, great.
Awesome family.
Yeah, no, Fulvio's awesome. Awesome.
Yeah. Somebody said we never really affect our fat bike, and then one day we went ahead and put purple flames right. I can't understand what they're trying to say, but pictures of Ireland and Cory in the mid-90s. You were in Ireland in the 90s?
And is that Fulvio or someone else?
No, JD DeFries.
Oh, okay. Yeah, not sure on.
Yeah, I can't quite understand what
okay.
what they're saying. Somebody else says, I need to meet these two. Learned a lot from Perowitz and Paint Gang over the years.
Oh, cool.
We got a lot of comments on here. There's a lot of people, talking about your dad that they.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Justin George says, Islands Archives, the most favorite thing I've ever filmed.
Yeah. There's it's on our Instagram and Facebook if you dig far enough. Yeah, Justin did a lot of interviews with my dad, and they're fairly recent, in the last 3 years or so.
That's cool.
Yeah. So it's Justin did a great job on those, and he talked about the Untouchable, and he talked about different bikes. But yeah, it's if someone's got a little extra time in their hand, it's worth watching. They're great interviews of my pops.
Yeah, I'll have to go try to find it and share it on our page.
Okay.
That stuff's cool. It's cool. So that right there, he probably was like, oh, I got to do interviews. You don't want to do it. It takes up your time. But now look at it.
We're so thankful that all that stuff was done.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's not stuff, hence why we do this show is to tell stories that you can't Google, that you're not going to get reading a book. This is stories that randomly get brought up. You thought of when we were looking through the box of old pictures, it was a story. DP had a story, but every picture we got through 5 pictures in an hour.
Sure.
Because it brings back memories, and that's what's cool. Because times have changed dramatically.
A bunch of pictures of all of us in Sturgis. There's your dad, Davis, Fatlin, myself, and nobody wore shirts at the time. Everybody took their shirt off,
Right, yeah.
Oh yeah, there's some cool pictures,
Right. No, that's yes. Sturgis was always or it still is. It's like a family reunion every year.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's absolutely the best part of going to Sturgis, is seeing everybody.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Somebody wants to know, Chaos King Lenny asked Cory if I can get the internal pots for my old Ness taillight.
You know what? We could have some stuff laying around, but once again, we've been kind of cleaning house a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's he may be a week or two late, but we've actually had some, we've had so many components laying around where you're missing one part, so you never built the rest. That it could be worth a phone call in and email in a picture of what they're looking for, and maybe we can help, because but we have seriously, in the last 30 days, we have finally gotten rid of some stuff that's like, hey, this has taken up shelf space for 15 years. It's just time to clean up a little.
How about some Ness FXR fender rails?
We only have one side.
One
That's
side.
what side you need.
Wait, is it? Let me think about it. It would be the left side.
Yeah, Preb. What? Their bike.
Listen, you got the left side. I'm in need of one. Actually, Guy is in need of one.
That's right. You asked about that. We must have the other side, because that's right. You did ask me.
Yeah. So I asked Kelly. Kelly told me no, and then he asked Max, and Max told him yes. And I was like, I don't know what.
Well, we'll look at. So you're looking for a right or a left?
Left.
Looking for a left. Okay. I'm gonna write this down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, man, you would be Guy's hero if you found one. He actually
Okay.
he welded. He fixed his, to a point.
Sure.
But
Sure.
He
Okay.
doesn't want to have to get, use something else, do something else. He's like,
Okay.
you gotta have one. I'm like, well, they sell out, and then when they don't make them anymore,
Yeah.
they're gone.
Yeah. Yeah. We started remaking those. Time flies. Probably 10 years ago, when FXRs were making some progress again, and then everybody wanted them, but then you make 25 or 50 sets, and they take a year and a half to sell. So it's like, well,
Is it worth it? Yeah.
yeah, you got to turn your stuff more. Otherwise, it's probably not worth it. And then you run out, and then everybody wants them again. It feels like, right? So you just can't do it right.
Yeah.
But
Right.
but I'm gonna look. I'm gonna get back to you today on that.
Okay.
Yeah. How's the FXR market out there right now?
It's we still sell. We made those. The triangle side covers. Even today, we still sell a shitload of those things.
Yeah, I'll bet.
So that's still good. I think we stopped making the stash tray.
Yeah.
That's one of my products I did years ago.
Oh yeah.
But we did well with those. But by far the most successful part we made on the FXR was the side covers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have
Yeah,
on
for sure.
all mine.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
have on any FXR that we have, we put those on.
I think that's really the only. Does anybody else make a side cover?
No, not that. There's some people making like carbon fiber ones now, or
Yeah,
aluminum, but I mean they're big money. They're not. They're not.
Sure.
Yeah, the stock ones.
Yeah, someone wanted us to make the one, and we also made them with three scallops in them.
Right.
Yeah.
And we were going to fire that mold back up again, and then we found out we chucked the mold finally. So
Oh, jeez.
once again, because we've been kind of cleaning house, because it's like,
Yeah, you can't save everything.
you can't save everything. Exactly.
Yeah, I like the smooth ones, anyways.
Yeah, me too. And they're the ones that, we still, like I said, I don't know how many we sell, but it's a pretty good number. Pretty good number.
Somebody can paint the scallops on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But
All right. Well, I think that's pretty good. We'll for the people that just joined us, we'll go back to flash this picture maybe.
look at those legs.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at those socks.
Yeah.
And maybe this is a good one with you. Oh, this must have been after you switched over, because you got pointy toe cowboy boots on.
Yeah. Right.
Oh, wow.
After 79. Yeah.
Yeah, these are good. These are good classic pictures.
Yeah. I want those pictures.
Yeah, I'll email them to you.
With my white pants, of course.
You'll have to see who this guy is in the red or the cowboy hat.
Well, it's so small. It's so small on my phone.
That's what I was gonna say. When I email it to you, you have to look at it.
Yeah.
Me and DB goes, I wish I could go like this and zoom in on the pictures.
Yeah. You pick up the pictures and you're used to like just kind of zoom in on. Like,
yeah,
it doesn't work that way.
No,
didn't work that way in the 70s.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Cory, for coming on here. We really appreciate it, and contributing to our chopper history.
No, thanks for having me.
Telling some Ness history.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a lot of history.
No, absolutely. Yeah. I don't know. So if it was first time you came, did you meet my dad in Daytona the first time?
No, I met your dad. We talked on the phone because I started buying parts.
Oh, that makes sense.
And,
yeah.
We met through Larry Comferman.
Okay. Yep. Yeah.
And we met in 1975, in April of 75 in Detroit. At a show called It's Detroit was the name of the show.
Right. With Carlini, right?
Yeah,
Carlini?
right, exactly.
Okay.
And so we went to the show, and your dad was one of the judges, and he picked my bike for best pearl paint. I still have the award.
Oh, cool.
And so we talked, and that's when I invited him to come to Laconia.
Oh, okay.
When was Detroit? In March?
Detroit was April 1st. I think it was like April 1st or something. It's on the poster. I still have the poster.
Yeah.
So then I invited your dad to come to Laconia, and he came to Laconia, So we spent the 3 days up at Laconia. And on Sunday, we're going to head back to my house. And your dad said, hey, you know, I know some guys in Detroit. You want to go to Detroit? And I said, yeah, okay. So we put my bike and his bike in my van. And your dad and I, we drove out to Detroit.
Oh.
And we
Cool.
went to Yosemite Sam's house.
Okay.
And we stayed at Yosemite Sam's for like 5 days.
Wow.
And we went out and rode every day with the Sam brothers, Ron Finch, Carlini,
Sure.
and, you know, a couple other guys.
Oh, how cool.
You know, we had a hell of a time, you know, and I'll never forget, you know, your old man said to me, he said, you know, when you meet people on their own level, it makes all the difference in the world. Meaning, you know, Alan was bringing me out there, so now these guys are figuring if Alan brought me, I must be okay. You know?
Yeah. It's and that was a big deal for any of you guys to travel cross country and the expense of it and all that. But that's how all these relationships came together.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would imagine nobody stayed in hotels back then either.
Well, you know, we couldn't afford hotels really.
Right.
You know,
right. Absolutely.
That's why we camped, you know. I mean, it was, you know, I mean, even your old man, I mean, can you imagine your dad camping?
My dad never took me camping as a kid, so he wasn't a camper. I can tell you that.
Ditto.
He had no other choice, right?
Yeah,
Go to the bike event. Camping was the only option.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't even, and you know, the first probably 2 years that we went, you know, we camped at the town park, and I mean, nobody stayed in hotels, you know?
Yeah.
And a long ride was to Deadwood.
Yeah.
We're going to take a ride to Deadwood today, you know?
20 miles.
And I can remember Fatlin and Davis would go fucking 90 miles an hour through the canyons and get there ahead of us.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Just hoping the bikes wouldn't break down, right?
Right, exactly.
Well, I was just going to say, is that why you didn't go very far? Because they usually
that was, I mean, you know, really, Deadwood was a long ride.
Yeah, 25 miles could take 6 hours.
Right. Yeah, good thing there was no bars in between.
Yeah, that's without drinking, yeah.
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah, Bobby Vance, you know?
Yeah, sure.
You know, Bobby was always part of the crew then.
Right. Yeah, good times for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Cory. Well, we'll let you get back to work. Thank you once again, you know, for coming on here. We really appreciate it.
No, thank you. Nice catching up.
Hey, thanks, Cory.
Thanks, Cory.
Hey, guys, have a good one.
Talk to you soon.
All right, guys. So thanks for everybody tuning in today and all your comments and stuff. And don't forget, we'll be back on Monday. And we'll probably have a guest on Monday. But next Thursday, we're going to have Emma from the Sturgis Motorcycle Museum and Hall of Fame. She's going to give us a tour of the museum. So all you guys that have been wondering about the museum in Sturgis and the Hall of Fame, which I just humbly got inducted into. And so DP and I both are in the Hall of Fame now. We're going to have a tour on here. So definitely join us next Thursday on Chopper History, brought to you by Indian Motorcycles. But we will see you on Monday. Monday, we're going to try to have a guest about Laconia. So, FYI, I saw there was actually a couple comments. Our paint show in Laconia is canceled. We are not having a paint show this year in Laconia, unfortunately. It's out of our control, as I'm sure you know or assume. But definitely keep tuning into Chopper History and comment, like, and share, and get all your friends to come on. I think that's it. You got anything else?
Yeah, no, great show today.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you on Monday.